Assalamu alaikum and welcome. In this short video, we'll explore a powerful teaching approach that's transforming lecture rooms around the world: active learning. We'll talk about what active learning is, why it's important, the benefits it offers, and some of the most popular active learning strategies you can start using right away. Active learning is an instructional approach that actively involves students in the learning process, beyond just passively listening to a lecture. It requires students to engage in activities such as discussion, problem solving, case studies, role plays, group work, and reflection. The key idea is simple. Students learn more when they do more and when they think more deeply about what they're doing. In today's fast-changing world, knowledge alone isn't enough. Students need critical thinking, collaboration, and adaptability. Active learning supports these 21st century skills by shifting the focus from teaching to learning. Active learning encourages deeper understanding, it builds real-world competencies, and it prepares learners to apply what they know in dynamic situations. Active learning offers a wide range of benefits, not only for students, but also for educators and institutions. First and foremost, it improves learning outcomes. Studies have consistently shown that students in active learning environments perform better on tests, they retain information longer, and they develop a deeper understanding of the subject matter. It also enhances engagement and motivation. When students are part of the learning process, rather than passive recipients, they take more ownership of their learning, they ask better questions, and they're more likely to participate. Active learning fosters critical thinking and problem-solving skills. Instead of just memorizing content, students analyze, evaluate, and apply knowledge in meaningful ways. This helps prepare them for real-world challenges, both in their careers and in life. Another key benefit is collaboration and communication. Many active learning strategies involve group work, discussion, or peer instruction. These interactions help students build teamwork skills. It also helps them listen actively and express their ideas more clearly. Finally, it benefits educators too. Instructors receive real-time feedback on how well students understand the material, allowing them to adapt their instruction on the spot if necessary. And all of this can make teaching a lot more effective and rewarding. So how can you implement active learning? Here are examples of some widely used strategies. One of the simplest active learning strategies is called Think, Pair, Share. It's easy to implement and encourages every student to participate, not just the ones who typically raise their hands. Here's how it works. First, think. You pose a question to the class. Students take a moment to reflect on it individually. This quiet thinking time is important, especially for introverted learners or those who need a moment to process. Next, pair. Students turn to a neighbor or classmate and share their thoughts. In pairs, they compare ideas, ask questions, and refine their thinking. This step allows for peer learning and helps build confidence, especially for students who may hesitate to speak in front of the whole class. Finally, share. A few pairs share their insights with the larger group. You can call on volunteers, randomly select pairs, or gather responses using tools like polling apps. The beauty of Think, Pair, Share is that it builds from individual reflection to social interaction to whole class engagement. Another great active learning strategy is peer instruction. Peer instruction involves students explaining concepts to each other, and that's where the real learning happens. Here's how it works. First, the instructor poses a conceptual question, often one with multiple choice answers. The question often targets common misunderstandings. Students answer individually. usually using a clicker, an app, or a quick show of hands. Then comes the interesting part. Students discuss their answers in a small group. They explain their reasoning for why they chose the answer that they did. They challenge each other's ideas and try to reach an agreement. After the discussion, students vote again, and often the percentage of correct answers increases dramatically. Why? Because teaching others reinforces your own understanding. Peer instruction works so well because it encourages active engagement and critical thinking, it makes students more accountable for their learning, and it creates a collaborative, low-pressure environment where it's safe to be wrong. As the instructor, you can circulate and listen in, gaining a better understanding of where students are struggling and adjust your teaching accordingly. Peer instruction transforms a passive lecture into a student-driven conversation where learners become teachers and everybody benefits. The 1-minute paper is a quick, simple, and highly effective strategy that helps students reflect on their learning and gives instructors instant feedback. Here's how it works. At the end of a lesson, lecture, or class discussion, you pose a prompt and give students just a minute or two to respond in writing. It's not a test, it's a reflection. The prompts are usually short and open-ended, such as, what was the most important thing you learned today? Or, what question do you still have? Or, what was the most confusing point in today's class? These quick responses help students pause, process, and summarize what they've just learned, which strengthens retention and comprehension. For the instructor, these short papers are a gold mine of insight. They reveal what students are taking away, where they're getting stuck, and what topics might need more clarification. The 1-minute paper can be anonymous, graded for participation, or simply collected as feedback. It works well at the end of class, but it can also be used in the middle to break up a lecture or check understanding in real time. It's easy to implement in any subject or format, in person or online, and takes almost no preparation. Clicker questions, which are also known as audience response systems, are a popular and effective active learning strategy used to check understanding in real time and keep students engaged during lectures. Instructors pose a multiple choice or concept-based question, and students respond using clicker devices or apps on their phones, laptops, or tablets. Within seconds, you see the distribution of responses on a screen. The value of clicker questions isn't just in collecting answers, it's in what happens next. If responses show widespread understanding, you can move on confidently. But if the answers are split, or many are incorrect, that's a perfect moment to stop and clarify. Clicker questions encourage participation from all students, even the quiet ones. They make learning more interactive and immediate and give instant feedback to both students and instructors. And they're not just for large lecture halls. Clicker tools work equally well in smaller classrooms or even remote learning settings. Active learning isn't just a trend, it's a shift toward more effective, student-centered education. When students engage, interact, question, and reflect, they don't just memorize information, they internalize it and apply it. You don't have to redesign your entire course to get started. Even small changes like adding a question for discussion, a group activity, or a reflection moment can create meaningful engagement. So take the first step. Choose one active learning strategy and try it out, then see the difference that it makes. You might be surprised at how much more vibrant, collaborative, and effective your learning environment becomes. Thank you for watching, and remember, the best learning happens when students are truly active participants.